This is Rating Descending.
where we watch IMDb's worst 250 movies so you don't have to.
I'm Michelle St. Clair,
I'm Abigail Ward.
and this week we watched Biodome. Moronic best friends get themselves locked inside the Biodome, a science experiment, along with a group of environmental scientists for 1 year. Let's watch.
Oh, my voice.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a rough one.
You just got sick, and I've been sick all week. This is the first day I felt okay.
That's good. My voice is just all over the place. As I said, you'll have to take care of me this episode. I'm a little sick baby.
Yeah, I'll take care of you.
Wow, wow. Oh, wow, wow, wow. You know, baby shit.
I mean, we were going to record this like 5 full days ago.
Yeah,
That's how sick I've been.
It's been a fucked week. Michelle went away for a week, and she came back, and then she got ill, and then I got ill, and Brooke got ill.
It's all
and Brooke went to hospital.
Oh, yeah.
It's been wild.
It's unrelated. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Casual little trip to the hospital for 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a fucking wild week, which is why, like, normally we record in advance, and this time it's, like, really, like, it's the middle of Easter.
We are really just, like, pushing it fine.
Yeah.
Cutting it fine, pushing it to the edge.
But
I don't know, more idioms.
You know, just some classic idioms.
Breaking a couple of pigeons.
You can't break a pigeon without cracking a few
Rolling
eggs.
Stones. You can't gather no moss without cracking a few eggs.
You know, a rolling stone gets stuck between itself and a hard place.
burning the midnight oil from both ends.
Oh, I like that one.
Thank you.
That's good. And others.
Others.
Classic others.
Etc.
I do think it's good to be recording this in Easter because there's really nothing to celebrate in Easter. Do you feel like Easter has an outsized importance in Australia?
Yes, I was talking about this with someone else. I realised Easter isn't really a thing much in America. They don't celebrate it as much. And I know they do in Britain, but I feel like Australia just goes off for Easter.
Well, because like America obviously does love Christmas. They can't shut up about it.
And
but
they have Thanksgiving.
What they really love is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then the UK, like the Anglican Church really is a cult of Christmas. Let's be honest. They're not Christian 364 days of the year. And then on Christmas, they're like, this is it, guys. It's time for Jesus.
We're doing mass. We're making chicken. We're seeing our old, almost deceased relatives.
Yeah.
We're doing chicken.
We're doing chicken. Whereas, in Australia, I feel like our thing is Easter, which I think partly just comes from long weekend.
Yeah, it's just like people that work shitty corporate jobs dying for a 5-day weekend.
It's like, I know it's so well-trod ground that it feels kind of hack, but Easter is nonsense. Like, Good Friday is just the day Jesus died. That's why it's good, I guess. And then there's Easter Saturday, which you should really censor because it's not really anything. It's just Saturday. It's nothing. And then Easter Sunday, I guess, is just because it's Sunday. And then that's when
Easter
the eggs
Sunday
come out.
Is the Sunday.
Well,
See, Easter Sunday is the day that Christ was reborn.
Wasn't that the Monday? Because it was 3 days later.
No, so Good Friday is when they had the dinner. Yum, yum.
Is it?
Yum, yum.
I thought that's when he died. And then he came back 3 days later, which is Monday.
No, I thought he came back 2 days later.
No, 3.
Fuck.
Sunday is just when there's
I went to Sunday school for 10 years. I read about this every year for 10 years.
On the third day, they went to go check him out in the cave.
There's actually a song about this. On the first day of Easter, Jesus said to me, I'm gonna die on a cross.
Yeah, that's
on the second day of Easter, Jesus said to me,
Saturday.
On the third day of Easter. Wait, hang on. Yeah,
second
day.
No, third day of Easter. So yeah.
Jesus said to me, I am back to life. He ran. So then, what's Easter Monday? Tomb. Fuck, I don't know.
No, Easter Monday is when he came back, and Easter Sunday is when the giant rabbit lays chocolate eggs. The famous Christian myth. I hate Easter. It's like 12 holidays on top of each other, and they're like, "You get it, right?"
You know what, listeners? We could really look this up right now and lay this to bed, but we refuse.
No,
all right? We
I'm
like the
not.
mystery of Easter. You know what I love about Easter? The mystery.
It is a mystery. I mean, I don't feel any need to really unpack Christmas because I know it really is just Christians taking like 3 different pagan celebrations. I mean, like, these will all work at the same time. And then at some point, chocolate manufacturers were just like, yeah, but what if it was chocolate?
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing.
Yeah, when did bunnies and chocolate get wrapped into Easter? When did that happen?
I feel like bunny is probably the newest addition. No, chocolate.
Bunny.
Chocolate is probably the newest addition because there wouldn't have been chocolate until there wasn't chocolate until like the 1500s, 1600s. Like,
yeah.
So it couldn't have been an initial part of Easter.
I think was the rabbit part of like the biblical text around Easter? Was there a rabbit like sacrificed?
There's no biblical text around Easter. It's.
I mean, like when Jesus died.
As far as I know,
cross.
no.
I wonder.
Maybe the rabbit symbolizes purity and the eggs are rebirth and the chocolate represents yummy.
Chocolate represents Cadbury for sure.
Well, you know, famously when Jesus died, he said, please search for my eggs that I have distributed amongst the garden.
Before I die, find the 50 eggs I have hidden.
Yeah.
Go, my children.
You can make any holiday by just saying things enough times.
Yeah?
I think that's all it is. It's just a tradition repeated enough generations that we don't remember the source. So all you need is to make your grandchildren do something and now it's a tradition.
We could make a holiday right now.
We could.
What's our holiday? When is it taking place? May.
May?
I think there's a bit of a... No, actually, September. September is a good time for a holiday.
Oh, September
gets a bit laggy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I want something to celebrate.
You're kind of waiting for it to get... Especially because in Australia, we don't really do Halloween. So you're just like, oh, next month is Halloween, but it's going to inevitably lead to disappointment.
What if we did a rival holiday to Halloween, because we don't do it here? What if we made an Australian version of Halloween?
Okay.
Yeah.
On
or it's
Halloween.
Like, yeah. What if like our Halloween day is like a really fun, happy, festive day to rival the spooky, ooky day?
Well, who's like the figure? All good holidays have a mascot.
Yeah.
Easter has the Easter bunny. American Thanksgiving has a turkey with a pilgrim hat.
Ours is
Christmas is
a big man.
A big man? Okay.
Made out of jelly. Called Mr. Jiggly.
Mr. Jiggly?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's 7 foot.
Okay.
Black
7
eyes.
foot and black eyes.
Yeah.
He's kind of scary.
He ripples in the wind.
Oh.
He'll wibble over to you. But
This
the thing
kind
is,
of sounds like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
yeah, and he can turn back into liquid jelly before it sets and then back into jelly so he can get under any door.
Oh my God.
He'll slip into your house at night.
What to do what?
He'll lay little wobbly treats everywhere, little jellies.
But well, I mean, for Christmas it's candy cane. For Halloween it's just miscellaneous lollies. For Easter it's chocolate eggs. What's this one? Maybe it should be hard rock candy.
Hard rock candies.
Or Werther's Originals.
In like the mythology of this, Mr. Jiggly opens his mouth, lets out a mighty belch, and hard rock candies cover your room.
It should be the kind of one, the ones that you always get when you go to rural towns.
Yeah.
And it's like the circle. It's like the log that when you cut it, it's got a symbol on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
like
into
that.
that. I love that. And what do we learn from Mr. Jiggly's holiday, which we also need a name for, by the way?
It's what we learn is that love really is all around.
The tradition is that every year you have to go to Heathrow Airport and hug strangers while Hugh Grant narrates over you.
I can't wait for the movie that has 12 or so celebrities all going in interconnected adventures.
Yeah.
Celebrating the
can't
light
wait
of Mr. Jiggly.
Exactly. You always need that ensemble cast.
You've got that Jiggly spirit.
Takes place. It's about love and it takes place over a holiday.
Yeah.
For sure.
I
And
wish
this
one
one's
of
called
those.
Candy Crush.
It's called Candy Crush.
Yeah, that's our film.
I think that's registered trademark.
What? Original name.
I think that's a registered
I
trademark.
don't know what you're talking about.
We can do that.
What's the name of our holiday?
It's gotta be if it's about. We said it's about joy.
Yeah.
So it's got to be like an old word for joy. So maybe it should be.
Gay Day.
I was gonna say gayness. This is not.
Gay Day.
It's too many. Yeah, gay day. Gay day where Mr. Jiggly distributes hard rock
He'll
candy.
belch out hard rock candy.
Where he slithers under your door to distribute hard rock candy in your hallways, famously. But You can also ward him away from your children by hanging up a wheel of cheese.
And a glass of oat milk.
Yeah, a glass of oat milk and a wheel of cheese.
He's conscious of the environment, guys.
And of course, that means, when you meet your friends and relative, you have to give them hard rock candy that looks like gold.
Yes.
That's what you exchange at each other.
Correct.
Oh, here's your gold rock candy. Oh, and also letters of forgiveness.
Letters of forgiveness.
Uh-huh.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some kind of like ritual aspect. You know how we have like Christmas trees and like we put up lights for Christmas.
Oh, well, there is the chant.
Oh, of course, the chat and the pledge that you take every morning.
Yeah, the
5 days before Gay Day.
The 5 days of Gay Day, leading up to the chant of sorrow. Before you
can embrace the full Gay Day.
Exactly.
You must repent before you're allowed to be accepted by Mr. Jiggly.
The chant goes like
As
thus.
so.
And so on for the next hour or so.
And then you finish it with a little tight,
That got me. It did. It got me. Speaking of the most idiotic thing I've ever heard, this week we watched Biodome.
Didn't we just?
Oh my God. Normally we start with a preamble about like, man, that movie was bad. But up front, I want to mention, I've heard a lot of Pauly Shore over the years, and yet I never knew that he was the magic mirror in Casper Meets Wendy. And immediately I was like, I recognize him. Why is that?
Yeah, I recognized him too.
Especially his voice.
Oh, thank you for saying that.
Immediately I was like, oh, fuck. That voice, that's the magic mirror in Casper Meets Wendy.
Weight off my mind.
He was like a cultural figure in the late 80s and early 90s, and yet our frame of reference is the made-for-TV third Casper sequel.
The
where
best
he was a
Casper
minor part.
film by far. Hilary Duff killed it. I wanted her little red outfit. I wanted her thick wand with the gem on top.
Yeah.
I still want that.
Yeah.
I would sleep in that. That's like a great around the house look, you know?
Basically a witch snuggie.
Also, Hilary Duff, cutest child actress.
Yeah.
Great as Lizzie McGuire. Turned into a real nice gal.
I desperately wanted to be Wendy when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. I wanted to be Lizzie as well. I wanted to be everything Hilary Duff.
Yeah.
Well, touchy, but I actually liked Hilary Duff and Avril Lavigne, even though through their famous rivalry where they hated each other. I know.
Oh my God.
I know.
Who, for a long time, I got Avril Lavigne and Sarah Michelle Gellar confused.
That makes sense.
I feel like they look
get that.
similar. Now, having as an adult watched Buffy, I feel like I'm just slandering Sarah Michelle Gellar by making that comparison.
Yeah.
Because Avril Lavigne has several times revealed herself to be kind of not really committed to any sort of emotion or ideology that she's speaking about, and just really says anything that's popular at the time.
Yeah, 100%. Kawaii was a real low point for her.
Oh, Jesus.
Real low point.
Yeah.
But some of those 2007 real melodic songs she came out with, like Keep Holding On, 'cause you know I'll make it through. That hit me. 12-year-old me was like, go off, Avril. True.
True.
I thought Let Go was good. This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I can't believe I just tried to sing on this awful voice.
I know. I was about to say bold of you for singing while sick.
What can I say? I troop on.
You-
But Biodome was silly. Had
Biodome
a
was silly.
Strange cast.
Yeah, that is one of my things to touch on, is that the cast list is buck wild, because
Yeah.
it's got Pauly Shore, Stephen Baldwin, whose main other role is Usual Suspects.
That was odd. And I think Biodome said it was 1996, right?
Yeah,
Usual Suspects was 1995.
yeah.
Or 1994. Like, it just happened.
I'll get into it, but he got this role because of Usual Suspects, where he was like
So
the
he had
hottest
a
guy in town.
Real downgrade.
Yeah. There was that woman who always makes me think is budget Jennifer Tilly.
Same.
Yeah.
And she was in Dazed and Confused.
Yes.
And other
And
things.
something else. But also the cast list of like the B actors. Oh, it's got the Ghostbusters guy, the You Are Poor scientist, the EPA guy who's really angry at them throughout Ghostbusters. He was the main
Yeah.
scientist in this. He's
Yeah,
Faulkner.
yeah.
Every time he's in anything, I'm like, it's the Ghostbusters guy. You a poor scientist, which I always repeat. I don't know why.
Our friend Will, shout out to Will. We know you're listening. We love you. He's like one of the only scientist friends we have, so you should really just address him with that more often.
Yes. Well, I don't think he's a poor scientist, though.
Oh.
I would only say that...
I think he's poor and a scientist.
Oh, okay.
So...
maybe that's what they meant.
You could rework it.
Given the odd grammar of the sentence, maybe that's what he meant the whole time.
Will, you just got roasted, buddy. But
also, like, the side characters include, like, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Patty Hearst.
Yeah.
Roger Clinton.
Wait, Patty Hearst.
Patty Hearst is in this movie.
Wait, what?
Like the Patty Hearst.
What do you mean? Wait.
The Patty Hearst is in this movie.
Who is Patty Hearst? Who is Patty Hearst? Oh, and Kylie Minogue.
Kylie
Minogue was in it. Who's Patty Hearst?
Wait, let me look it up again because she's like such a minor character in this. It's
That's insane.
So pointless that she's even in it.
What the fuck is she doing in it?
Also, Roger Clinton plays the professor at the university. Roger Clinton as in Bill Clinton's younger brother.
What the fuck, man? I'm curious to know what the budget of this film was because all of their actors were quite like...
Oh, Patty Hearst was Mrs. Johnson, so Stephen Baldwin's mother in it. Oh, and of course, Tenacious D is in it for a second. Phil Lamar is in it for a moment. There's so many fucking crazy random roles.
I don't remember Stephen Baldwin's character's mom at all.
No, she was in just like one scene, and they were like, let's get Patty Hearst.
That's insane. Why Patty Hearst?
I don't know.
Does she need more publicity?
Yeah,
Did the Stockholm Syndrome wear off too fast?
By the way, the budget was $8.5 million. So low budget.
Low, yeah.
Low.
How did they get all these cast
made
members
$13 million.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so this whole movie, like, it has this such weird cast list, and let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I counted...
No, it's all good,
I'm pretty sure I counted 4 montage sequences in this, which to me is always a sign of a bad movie. It's too many montages.
100%.
They kind of just fuck around for like 90-ish minutes. Or was this a full 120?
No, it was
95.
I remember because we watched it on Stan, so it has a timer, and I was really grateful every time I checked in and saw there was only like 20 minutes left. I was like, oh, thank God, it's only like 135 minutes long.
It was a long 95.
1 hour and 35 minutes. It was a long 95 for sure.
Yeah.
I realized like halfway through the film is when the fun
begins.
Well, the fun and games are now over, and then they get like outcast into the jungle, and I was like, okay, they kind of have a sense of structure here. There is definitely like some notion of structure in this film.
But this feels like it was... They wrote the structural touchstones, and then they didn't write any of the scenes in between.
Yeah.
So there's like 30 minutes of written scenes and 60 minutes of, I don't know, let's just kind of put anything here.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. A lot of them are like really shitty cheap. I associate this film with Freddy Got Fingered. Yes. I actually keep thinking Tom Green is in it. Yeah. I'm like, I keep getting shocked it's not Tom Green. But like, there was just a lot of moments where it was just them doing gags with each other or like doing something stupid. I just want to say straight off the bat, I thought they were the 2 worst protagonists I've ever watched.
Yeah.
They were awful people. They were awful to their girlfriends. They had no motivations. They were just irritating characters. Why would we ever side with them?
I get why Pauly Shore has a reputation for being a bad comedian.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about his reputation. Well, I also don't know much about Stephen Baldwin's...
That is amongst my trivia, so I'll get to it. But first I'll do the outline.
Yeah, baby.
So, the Biodome Project is meant to place Dr. Faulkner and 4 other scientists into a hermetically sealed dome to test biological processes for a full year. Meanwhile, best friends Bud and Doyle are stood up by their environmentalist girlfriends. On their way home, they pass the biodome opening ceremony and sneak inside to piss but right before it seals, mistaking it for a mall. The scientists realize quickly, but Faulkner insists that they remain in the dome for a year to maintain the integrity of the experiment. Quickly, though, Bud and Doyle's antics begin to ruin the experiment. After being banished to the desert biome, they find a key to the back window and escape. They then plan a party to take place in the now famous biodome and draw people inside for a large and wild party. The party destroys the biodome and disappoints Bud and Doyle's girlfriends. They then resolve to reseal themselves and the scientists in the dome to try and save the environment inside, which is now dying, before the 1-year time limit expires. As the end approaches, the missing Faulkner reappears with explosive coconuts, and Bud and Doyle have to chase him down and subdue him before he destroys the dome. They knock him out, and the experiment ends in success with themselves and the other scientists finally getting to leave, but now as heroes. That was the most succinct summary I could think of.
No, it was good.
Thank you.
For what that film was, that was excellent.
Yeah, real chaos. And I feel like hearing this is one of those summaries where you might hear it and then immediately go, hang on, that kind of sounds like a weird plot choice. And you'd be correct.
You'd be absolutely correct.
Like, them getting sealed in the dome, the day of the ceremony, then it's not like they're there for a week. Like, they are instantly recognized as being in there. And then the head scientist is like, no, I'm putting my foot down. It has to be an experiment of integrity. It has to be for the full year. Even if these two people are going to throw the whole thing off. Like, it's just, I don't understand.
We can't just release them and start again.
Yeah. I don't understand why they couldn't they didn't really explain that at all.
No, not at all.
Especially since, like, the investor guy outside was really pro taking them out. And then he's later pro them being in there because he's making the money. It would have made way more sense if he was always saying, no, they have to be in there because he smells a business opportunity.
Yeah.
But Dr. Faulkner is like, no, I don't want to do it. He's actually kind of really chill about it for the whole first half of the movie.
He is. But then Dr. Faulkner really falls apart, right? He becomes insane and the villain of the piece.
Yeah, at that midpoint, he sort of like vanishes and retreats into his inner id.
His inner saboteur, as RuPaul would say.
And only reemerges for the film's climax with explosive coconuts.
I felt like the whole movie was like a fever dream. Like, I was watching it, but I still felt like I couldn't follow it, despite the extremely simple plot.
Yeah.
And also, I kept stopping and starting it because I just needed a break from it.
Yeah.
I've never had to stop and start a film so many times.
Because I was in Sydney when watching it. I watched it with my mum. And, and she kept looking over while she was playing a game on her computer, being like, this isn't very good. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's kind of the nature of this podcast.
You're telling me, Ma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't... I found it just really difficult to digest, to understand fully.
Yeah.
My main takeaway from it, and this is what I wanted to... I'm sure you've got things you want to talk about.
Yeah.
But the thing I really wanted to talk about is the fact that... what are their names? Bud and
Doyle, but they were also
Bud and
referred
Doyle.
to as Squirrel and Stubbs. That's just their nicknames. Bud was Squirrel and Doyle was Stubbs.
I want to talk about the fact that Bud and Doyle pretty much sexually harass the two women in the expedition that are in the biodome, which is Kylie Minogue and a tall European woman, I think.
Yeah.
Tall European woman.
I thought she was Australian.
Oh, was she?
I don't know.
But yeah, like, they basically sneak into their beds. They have girlfriends, by the way, and I don't even want to touch on the girlfriends yet. But they have girlfriends who are genuinely kind environmentalists that want to care for Bud and Doyle.
They seem
treat
like
them
good
like
girlfriends.
shit.
Yeah.
They lie to them. The girls take vengeance on them because they're lashing out too. These guys get stuck in the biodome with Kylie Minogue and unknown European actress / maybe Australian actress, and they creep into their beds and literally touch them up.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, ooh, get out. I'm like, that's rape. That's sexual harassment. They just it looked like he was literally putting his hand on her pussy.
It did.
And the other dude was groping her tits. Like,
Yeah.
if a dude did that to me, I would call the police.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they aren't allowed to be in this biodome because they're real kind of rapey. And
They're so rapey.
I feel literally at risk and unsafe. Like,
Yeah.
that should be the end of it.
And then, like, they kind of have, like, brief flirtations with these women where they're trying to really, like, impress these women.
Yeah.
And then at the end, the girls are like, oh my God, Bud and Doyle, like, we did it. We got to the end of the year.
We want to reward you.
We want to reward you. And they start making out with them. And the guys are, like, really horny and they really want to do it. And then they're like, no, we have girlfriends. And they push them out. And they're like, that may be the best or dumbest idea ever. And I was like, if you really wanted to fuck them so bad, you've already cheated on them.
Yeah.
Like, you just did it.
Yeah. Which is the inherent problem with the, like, oh, the cheating is just the act. It's like, if you want to cheat on your partner, that's the problem.
That's the problem. They literally, like, Bud was so aroused, Doyle had to push him off of it, like, the girl. And, like, He just cheated on her outright. They didn't do anything right or correct. These men are trash.
And also, like, I feel like after the weird assaulty scene when they're sleeping, they put a lot of groundwork into these women aren't interested at all in these two men. And I was like, cool. Let's at least have a storyline where we, the audience, through the eyes of the characters, realize that they're not fuck objects. They're actual legitimate scientists. And then at the end, they're like, nah, but we're fuck objects.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, guys. I know we formed this really close friendship over the year, but now we're ready to fuck. It's insane. And then the girlfriends run back to Bud and Doyle and they have a happy ever after.
Yeah.
These men do not deserve a happy ever after. They are the worst protagonists I've ever had to watch. There's nothing redeeming about them.
Yeah.
They're not even funny.
They're not. They're really not
Their
funny.
goofy antics aren't funny.
Here's an impression of any of the scenes. I'm gonna go do anything but this, and then I'm gonna fall down. And then Stephen Baldwin is like, huh? What? And that's kind of it. That's it. It's Pauly Shore just verbal diarrhea, and then Stephen Baldwin being unable to come up with a single joke.
100%. Stephen Baldwin just confuses me as an actor.
Yeah.
Odd choice after Usual Suspects. Odd choice.
Pauly Shore might have been not funny, but at least I felt like he was trying. Stephen Baldwin is unable to even do this role.
Stephen Baldwin didn't look like he knew he was there. It's like they were rolling the cameras and he'd just woken up and he was like, where am I?
To be fair, and I'll get into this was a period at which he had huge drug and alcohol problems.
Oh, it shows.
Yeah, it really
he's
shows.
A Baldwin and he's in this movie. I know he's at some kind of low.
It's a Baldwin in the 90s. This is not their best era. Yeah, I mean, also, you know, we already mentioned, at the beginning, it's weird that they keep them in the dome. But listeners, you may then also be going, oh, did you say they find a key and go out the back window of this hermetically sealed dome? To which the answer is yes. That happens. That's a major plot point, is that they just on the ground find a key. No, it's already in the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they just turn it and the back window just opens.
And they escape.
What the fuck? What the fuck? I know it's meant to be like that's a like, I feel like that would work if it was like a one-off gag.
Yeah.
In a more zany thing. Like, in a thing that feels like a cartoon as a movie, like the Tenacious D movie, or a cartoon where they're like stuck in jail and there's a window and they go like, well, why don't we just use the key? And then they get out. But like the whole premise of the movie is that
they can't get out.
They can't get out. And then they get out and come back inside, and that's like the whole plot point.
Yeah.
You can't hinge a major plot point on that because it's so dumb.
It really frustrates me that this film did have a sense of structure, because at the low point, like, they throw a party and they fuck up the whole experiment and everyone's about to tap out. And they're like, no, guys, we can do it. We can fix it. We can complete the experiment and we're going to help you do it.
Yeah.
So there is like a low point where they're like, and then they have a real like zest and vigor to complete the initial mission. And I'm like, fuck. Like, there is a screenwriter here that understands what they're doing. And I hate that.
Yeah.
Because it means I can't entirely write off this film. There was a sense of structure.
But it takes so long. It's like
all the in-between bits are terrible. It's just that there are actually some turning points in the film that make sense.
But the bit that gets me, so they get out of the dome, they bring everyone back for a huge party. Which, by the way, they say party tonight, and then they come back to the party, and there's infrastructure. There's like a stage with full electrics for the band that's playing.
Yeah.
Like, that is an incredible speed at which they set up this party. And then it's revealed at the end of the party that this was 1 month in.
Yeah.
It's not 6 months in, it's not 3 months in, it's not 9 months in, and now there's a mad dash to the end. This is the first 2/3 of the movie is the first month, and then there's a montage of the next 11
months. They really gloss over those 11 months. But they make it look like, again, they're all having a great time. They're working together. They care about each other. They're having little dances together. Like, they seem like they're having a great time. And that's why it threw me so much when Kylie Minogue and the other woman were like, we want to fuck you now.
I know.
It's like, what? I thought it was about them all becoming friends.
Yeah.
Bud Doyle as well, just as a side note, like, all these women that are like, their girlfriends like longing after them and these women want to fuck them. They're two of the most unattractive specimens I've ever laid eyes on. Not even just unattractive, just unattractive specimens. Men in general can be quite like uncompelling. These men were something else.
Yeah.
The baggy clothes, Bud's outfit, the whole feel of the film was like a fever dream because it felt like that real like mid to late 90s fashion where everything's in neons. You're wearing those like really slim glasses. Like Bud's hair was in little like fucking locks.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And like they had frosted tips and like little beads on them.
The worst hairstyle of any 20th century fashion.
Yeah, he's wearing baggy knee-length shorts.
Oh my God.
He's wearing oversized t-shirts and like sneakers, and it's just I know that fashion is secular and things come back into trend. I need that to never come back into trend.
Yeah.
I need to be protected from that.
There was this particular moment as well, though, that in reference to them having this style, they get referred to as like Gen X trash or something. And what I love about that, though, for one thing, it makes me go like, yes, that immediately lets me know the time and place and circumstance in which this movie was made. But it also confirms what we all already know if we pay attention, which is just every generation hates whoever the young people are.
Yeah.
We don't go, oh, millennials are the rubbish one or Gen Z are the rubbish one. Gen X were seen as the like dropout layabouts who couldn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Baby boomers were the crazy hippies with rock and roll who were ruining America and stuff. Like it's just they just hate young people.
Yeah, people always hate young people. It's a threat. It reminds me that you're getting old and there's a new world that's developing underneath you.
There's a quote, I can never remember the actual words of it, that it's just like the young people need to learn respect and honor. They always just disrespect their elders and never listen, and it will be the end of our civilization. And it's a quote from Aristotle. Like, it's just, we've always been like this. We just
100%.
hate young people.
What I love about also like ancient history is when you read about all the graffiti that was laid around like city walls in Rome and even like Pompeii.
Yeah.
Like when they were like doing like historical diggings in Pompeii and they found all this graffiti on the walls and it was just like dicks and vaginas. Nothing's changed.
Yeah, the only thing I think that has changed is that the labels of boomer and millennial and Gen Z, which by the way always totally means that Gen X is either mushed in with millennial or boomer, have been like so artificially solidified by social media and marketing that now I feel it does feel very fucking intense right now in such an arbitrary way.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
the strange hostility between millennials and Gen Z on social media in particular.
Which to me feels entirely fabricated and just a reason to get us to work against each other than with each other.
100%. Like, there's a lot of millennials being like, Gen Z will never remember these things. And then Gen Z is being like, why are millennials on the internet? And it's just like this back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, that is like, on the one hand, I instinctively want to be, every time Gen Z is like, we invented this thing and millennials should get off the internet or whatever, I'm like, well, that's crazy because I feel like I'm doing the same thing I did when I was 12.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I'm like, what? They're fucking teenagers. That's what teenagers do, is they think they invent everything.
Yeah.
Teenagers always think they're the first to do something. Anyway, I could rant about this for hours.
Yeah, this whole film makes me think of like really LA 90s fashion. It makes me think of like, this is like the visual imagery when I think about this film. I think about rippling heat waves, really shitty slushies and really vivid cups. I think about like a lot of neon colors and those fucking slim glasses Stephen Baldwin is wearing.
The wraparound sunglasses.
Yeah, it's just like this like really feral 90s energy.
Tony Hawk was the most famous sports person.
Yeah, 100%. The colors in this film are just wild.
Skateboarding was ruining modern civilization.
Yeah. Just a shocking film, Michelle.
Yeah, it was really bad.
I can't believe I had to stop and start it like 5 times.
It just, I really can't believe it. It was just a whole bunch of nothing. That's one other thing. One other thing I did want to mention before we move on is that I love right at the end, after they get out, Doyle or Bud, Pauly Shore says what is definitely meant to be the thematic statement of the film, and he turns around and he's like, sometimes stupid can be pretty cool. Fuck you.
Go off. Pauly Shore. God. Did Pauly Shore come before Geordie Shore or after Geordie Shore?
I think the first one was actually Jersey Shore, and then Pauly Shore,
and then
Geordie Shore.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
I think that's the order.
It's just a bunch of Pauly Shore clones bumping around a house together, being like, what did you say to my fucking boyfriend?
I can't even begin to... He does have a very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that bothers me, is that I didn't mind hearing his very distinctive voice. I didn't like any of the words that were associated with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some trivia?
I would love to hear some trivia.
All right. Kylie Minogue has called this film her worst career move. She said it's the only thing she has done in her professional life that her father ridicules her for.
Holy shit.
Similarly, Alec Baldwin told his brother Steven that doing this movie could end his acting career. And I guess in some ways he wasn't that wrong. Here's the next one. According to an interview on Last Call with Carson Daly, Dana Gould and Harland Williams were the original stars of the film.
Who's Harland Williams?
He's the guy... Okay, do you remember in Freddy Got Fingered, his, like, friend who kept getting hurt and stuff? The guy who's also in Something About Mary? He's, like, part of that whole circle of comedy in the 90s. Yeah.
Roughly.
He is a funny guy. He's just in a lot of really bad movies.
And Dana Gould is from Wayne's World?
No, that's Dana Carvey.
Who's Dana Gould?
Both of them were just like famous actual stand-up comedians in the 90s. Oh, he plays Gex in Gex, which is a niche reference, but I played Gex so much as a
Loved
kid.
Gex. Even I remember that.
Gould also wrote for The Simpsons for a while.
Oh, okay.
In some of its best seasons. So both of them are actually funny people. They were the original stars of the film. As Williams described it, they did an open-ended cattle call for Biodome, and I guess Dana and myself were kind of like the emerging funny guys around town. We were locked in. Gould and Williams recall a deal memo for them to have the job, and the two were deep in planning for the roles. Williams bought fake bugs to practice for a bug-eating scene, and Gould simply dreamed of what it will be like when we've done it, when we've made it. Gould then recounted that the director at the time approached the studio, who notified him that they had Shaw and Baldwin locked in for film deals and were going to go with them instead.
Fuck.
Brutal. And that, like, this movie is written badly, but I also think the nature of its, like, montagey bits, Dana Gould and Harlan Williams would have been funnier in those bits, so it could have been mediocre instead of the absolute dumpster fire it is. Another piece of trivia that I didn't write down, actually, I want to quickly get up because it's relevant to this moment.
It's really interesting. I think like they must have thought that Stephen Baldwin was such a catch to have for this film because he was just off the back of a critically acclaimed film. What a bad choice.
Actually, I'll get back to it because it's part of reviews. The motto of the community college that Jen and Monique, the girlfriends, attend is nothing to be ashamed of, which is like maybe the one funny joke.
It had one funny thing.
Yeah. And because there wasn't much trivia about this film, this is just trivia about Stephen Baldwin.
Yes, tell me.
After his rampant alcoholism and drug abuse in the 90s, Baldwin became a born-again Christian after the September 11 attacks in 2001. In 2006, Baldwin and two others founded Breakthrough Ministry, which was designed to use extreme sports as a ministry via arena tours called Assault Tours.
What the fuck? What do you mean?
So they were going to use extreme sports as to proselytize evangelical Christianity.
That's insane.
In late 2008, Baldwin formed a for-profit organization called Antioch Ministry, which exists to facilitate the gifts and calling of Stephen Baldwin.
That's incredible.
Somehow Stephen Baldwin became a Baldwin who was more conservative than Adam Baldwin, who's not a Baldwin brother, but was kind of the, let's just say he shot the firing pistol of Gamergate. Is a succinct way to phrase it.
Oh, Lord. I don't know much about Adam Baldwin at all.
He's the one in Firefly. He plays Jenny.
Oh, yeah. The angry guy.
Yeah, the angry guy. One other thing is that Stephen Baldwin did mention in reaction to Alec Baldwin saying that he might run for mayor of New York in 2013, Stephen said that he would run in counter-opposition.
What? Do they have a hostile relationship?
Well, Alec Baldwin is a pretty outspoken progressive.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry. He's a pretty outspoken liberal, which is different.
Yes. Yeah.
I assume they hate each other because of that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some reviews?
I would love to hear some reviews, Michelle.
So
We're
just
both sick girls. Listeners, take pity on us.
please pity us.
Today we struggle. We had to watch Biodome and we're sick, so that's pretty tough.
And we're still here for you.
For you, we've come today. We've delivered this content to you.
And when I say take pity, what I mean is please recommend us to at least 20 of your closest friends. So, just a quick thing. Biodome was panned by critics, obviously, and gained a record low score of 1 out of 100 on Metacritic.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It also has a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my god, what do you think the lowest rated film on Metacritic is?
Well, I assume this is one of them.
It's gotta be there.
The one professional review I pulled was from Stephen Holden of the New York Times, and he called it inept in almost every respect. Which, once again, is just everything we said over the last, 40-ish minutes, but it just in one sentence.
Nice.
All right, here's one from IMDb titled Awesome from Zaka SPFC 30. I don't know why people hate this movie. It's hysterical. I shared people's views of its stupidity, but then I watched again and now I am hooked. I bought the DVD and watch it once a week. It's funny with its quick, witty, one-line jokes that you won't pick up the first time. Pauly Shore is wonderful in this film. I believe it's one of his best. Stephen Baldwin also does great in the film. He in the film acts like a slow-minded college student. And he is. Him and Pauly are a great combo and both played their parts to perfection. All of my friends agree that this film deserves a perfect, flawless 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. Here's another one titled Laughed My Pants Off from Peugeot171714. Tons of Peugeots. I totally laughed my pants off and couldn't stop crying. That's what comedy is all about. No consideration in that I watched Biodome 4 o'clock in the morning. I stayed awake though. I had a great time that night, early morning. But I would never watch it again. It would just spoil the experience. LOL. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Don't spoil that experience.
I really loved it. Look, it was 4 in the morning and I'm not going to do it again, but so good.
So good. I've never given a film 10 out of 10 and then said I'd never watch it again.
What is your rating, Abby?
Fuck. It's 4.5 on IMDb, right?
It's 4.5 on IMDb, yeah.
I really hated this one. Quite an immense amount. There was so little that was redeemable about it.
There's a lot to hate.
The sexual assault and semi-rape of the women around them is gross. Listen, I'm gonna give it honestly like a 1.5. That low.
1.5?
1.5. I hated it. Hated it.
That's
bad
fair.
performances, not funny, difficult to watch. It was only like 95 minutes. I had to stop it like 5 times. Difficult.
Nice.
What are you going to give it?
I think, look, I agree with everything you said, but I like being beholden to my own rules. And it was shot like a movie. As you said, there were structural touchstones. Like, it feels like it has a complete movie structure, even if it's super loose in between the structural points. It was cut like a movie. It is like a movie, and thus I can't give it any lower than a 2. So it is a 2 from me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, that was Biodome. Don't forget to follow us on social media if you can. You can find us on Twitter under Rating Descending.
Or you can find us personally. You can find me on Insta under Abigail J. Ward.
And me on Twitter and Instagram under Michelle.St.
And don't forget to drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really makes a difference.
What are we watching next week, Abby?
Next week we are watching Highlander 3.
Yes!
I'm so excited for it.
Genuinely very keen.
I haven't actually watched Highlander, so I'm going to watch Highlander 1 and 2 in preparation.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Highlander Marathon.
Highlander Marathon.
We watched the first 5 minutes of this and it looks buck wild.
Looks buck wild.
Yay!
Catch us next week, you fucking loser. I'm sorry.